Okay, welcome back to the stream, everybody. Let me just get my stream up on the side here in case there's anybody who wants to chat and say hello. So if you drop into the stream, just say hello from where you are in the world. It would be great to connect with you. Now, where we left off was, and I'm going to show you the Webex room here. Where we left off was in Webex chatbotting. And as you can see, the logo did work. But it's not my logo. So that was just an example. I don't own that image. I'm going to try to make my own image to attach to these Webex cards. But this is from the OpenAPI policy set API, where we have a nice table, and we can have the URL to the API, and it will take us to this API right from Webex, if I can get the credentials right. So there it is, right from the Webex adaptive card. So these are adaptive cards, and we can include links. And what I've been doing is including the files as attachments, and that's sort of where we left off. So let's finish the different file type attachments. And I jumped right to text, but let's back up and do the JSON and the YAML. And this is going to be some copy and paste work, but what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this, and we're going to say if the file type equals JSON, use the multi-part encoder. Now, multi-part encoder is part of the requests toolkit. So we have this requests tool belt, multi-part encoder, import multi-part encoder, and that is what I'm using to attach the files. And right, this is going to be JSON file as the text. And we want to include .json, and I think this is just text. And then everything else should be pretty much the same. Now, I've gone ahead and exported all of my different, so I've exported URL, exported username, password, my room ID, and my token ID. Again, you get the room and token ID from the developer.webex.com, and I typically go into documentation under the APIs, and let's just do, messaging, reference, messages, and this is where you can get your API. Now, what we actually want is rooms, and if we run this, it will give us back our rooms. And here is the ID that I've exported as the room. And this token I've exported as my token. Now we can do that at the prompt, or we can export them as environment variables. We could even pass them in as flags. So now let's try JSON with the policy set API. So we're going to say Python 3, ISECycle, and we want policy set, and we want JSON file type, and we should get two. Okay, we only had 200 come back. If self.fileType equals JSON, I don't believe that actually sent it into the room, and let me get my room. Yeah, we didn't actually get the file type, so I've missed something. Pardon the dog. So this worked. The adaptive card worked, but we didn't get the file attachment. Let's see why not here. If self.fileType equals policy set JSON, so it did create the file. Sorry about the dog. I don't know what's going on upstairs. I should run up and check. But why did we not get the .json file? Oh, I see, because I have to maybe make this else if. So if file type equals JSON, else if. Let's try that again. I'm not quite sure why that didn't work. Policy set JSON. There we go. Yeah, I forgot that I added this at the top, and I had to add the else if. So now in our room here, we have the attachment, and we have the JSON output as an attachment. So let's go ahead and do YAML. And we're just going to copy this. And change that to YAML. YAML file. YAML. YAML. And make that an else if. So now let's see if we can get the YAML file to come into our Webex. Policy set, YAML, and we have two 200s, which is good, and there is our YAML file. Perfect. So moving along, let's take a look at our other file types. Now I think I'm up to, let's do the HTML page, would be the next one in our file types. And we can see our list of file types here. So we've done JSON, YAML, CSV. Oh, and I have to add text file here. I missed that in my all files. So CSV, Markdown, HTML. So HTML would be our next file type. And this is going to be HTML. HTML file. HTML. HTML. And that is an else if. Okay, so policy set HTML. And we know these are going to work because we're doing the copy paste, but that's fine. And then, right, so here's my HTML file. And if I open it up, I have the nice data table in my browser. Wonderful. Okay, so moving along, our next file is going to be the mind map file. Mind map file. And now this is, I have to check what we call this. I think I call it space mind map because it has the, because it is a markdown file, and we have to do markdown still as well. Right, so I call it mindmap.md. Okay. And I have to do markdown, which I've skipped. So let's go down here and call this, this is mindmap.md. mindmap.md. Policy set mindmap. Thanks for joining if you're tuning in. And let's see here. So now there we go. There's our, and if we open this up, we should have our mind map markdown file, which we can preview. And there we have our mind map. Wonderful. Now let's backtrack. I skipped just a plain markdown file, and let's put that after the CSV file. So this is if it equals markdown file md policy set markdown to 200s, and there is our markdown file. Perfect, and it previews like that. Okay, great. Now the next one might be a little tricky, might need a little bit more code. We're going to be doing, I think it's MP3. So for the MP3, because it's a loop for each hit. So let's copy the mind map to get our logic in here. And this is if it equals MP3 file. MP3 file. And now let's split our screen and just reference our MP3 logic. Right, so I have a loop here. So if it's MNT is in the API, it's just the single MP3 file, else do a loop. So, and this might have to be adjusted when we do more MNTs. I'm not sure if this logic's going to hold up, but let's just copy this for the MP3 file. So if it equals MP3, we're going to have to make the loop here. So if it equals MNT, and we'll come back and write the so if it equals MP3, then go ahead and do that. Else, we need the loop. So the dictionary, and then for each result in the dictionary. For each result, go ahead and post in each file. So now we can get rid of the split screen. So ICE MP3 file, and then it's going to be, and I think we use the name. I might need that split screen one more time. Let's just see what the name of each file is. A result name MP3. And we'll have to do this with the node because we have multiple nodes, but for now let's just see if we get one MP3 file from the policy set, because there's only one policy set right now. So policy set MP3. No such file. But there is a file here. Oh, I got the name wrong here. So it's MP3. I should just get rid of that MP3 from the file name, but that's okay for now. So MP3.mp3. Let's try this again. Policy set MP3. And now we have the audio file in here. Great.
The Identity Services Engine.
Awesome. Okay. Now I wonder if I can change that. Let me just change the type here to, I'm going to need to look up multi-part encoder. It's not a text file, it's an audio file. So let me just do a quick Google here. Multi-part encoder media file. I just want to see if there is a file type. Let me look at my other code. Let me just check something real quick. I don't think I did MP3s in Business Ready. Let me quickly look up some other code on my GitHub. And I think it's actually in my Merlin Unchained. This might take me a second to find. I'm pretty sure that I have done this already. Let me just see if I can find my reference to it. Here we go. Maybe not. I thought I had done the MP3 file somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's go back to my Google here and do multi-part encoder media file type example. There is, yeah. Text plain. That's what I'm looking for here, is to find out instead of text plain. MPEG 4. I think I can actually specify multi-part form data. It's not a text file, it's an MPEG. Audio MPEG. Okay, audio MPEG. Audio MPEG. Audio MPEG. Let's just try this again and see if I just want to see if I can play it right in Webex instead of having it as an attachment. Policy set MP3. So it posted it okay. Okay. I'll have to do some research on that. I was wondering if there's a way to have this show up as an audio file as opposed to an attachment that we have to download. But I'll move along for now. So then it's really just a matter of doing the other file types. So I think SVG is next. And PNG. So we're going to take the mind map and say SVG, SVG file, SVG, SVG, which is text and text. Arguably maybe not text. Policy set SVG. We get the table on the screen. And we have our SVG file. Okay, great, wonderful. So then PNG is going to be just a repeat of that, but with PNG. I should look up if that's just, if it's maybe an image. multi-part encoder as an image. Let's quickly take a look and see if there's a multi-part encoder PNG. Image JPEG, image PNG. Okay. Image PNG. And let's maybe change that to image SVG. Let's see if that makes any difference. I don't know that it will. Policy set PNG. Well, it's churning. It's thinking about it here. I'm wondering if it's going to display the actual PNG file. I know we can open it here, but is it going to render the table here? It's sort of spinning and thinking about it. Let's try the SVG. Again, policy set SVG. Okay, so the SVG didn't do anything. PNG is still spinning there. I'm going to have to look into the Webex development kit. And let's see about CSV. CSV doesn't show up as a CSV file, but I'm wondering if it will actually show the CSV file if we change that MIME type. PNG is still spinning there. Where's my CSV? Let's make that plain text for JSON. Let's see if the plain text policy set JSON. No, it doesn't show up as the JSON payload. I'm going to need to look into that. But I'm pretty sure in my older code with my CSV file, I actually did have it display the CSV file. Let's try CSV here. Policy set CSV. No, it didn't. Just going to reference some old code while I'm in here. Business. It's not business ready, it's Merlin. Let me just look at my Merlin code. See, that's an XLS file. Text XLS. I don't know why CSV is not showing up inside of the post. Content type, M content type. Let me take a look and see if I'm doing this right in ISECycle. Oh, I think, no, see there's data, content type M content type. So it should be picking up that content type. Let me just try XLS instead of CSV. XLSX. Let me just see if this makes any difference. I'm pretty sure that in my older iteration of this, I had it show the CSV file. And that's really what I'd like. It's nice to have it as an attachment, but no, it's not displaying it. Okay, so I see. So XLS, it looks like it should work. Doc, DocX, GIF, JPEG, PDF, PNG, looks like it should work. See, they have the image here. So I'm not sure why the PNG is not working. And it looks like CSV is not included. So if I change it to XLS from CSV, it might work. And then Doc, so CSV is there. And MP3 is there. So I'm not quite sure what I've got wrong here. I'm going to have to revisit that, but that really should show the let me just try something real quick here. Now, you see, that's what I'm looking for, how it actually displays it as the spreadsheet. So CSV, it doesn't look like that maybe is not supported, or I'm not putting it in with the encoding type properly. Let me try the same with an MP3, adding it manually. Okay, no, that doesn't give me an audio play. Let's try the PNG file. You see, it should render the PNG. Did that PNG ever finish spinning? Okay, good. So it does actually, the PNG does attach. So it looks like as long as I get the encoding type right, it should actually display it if that is supported for the attachment. So, I mean, we can try this manually. Let me try the JSON file. I don't know if it will render the JSON. Yeah, you see? So I'm going to have to do a little bit of homework on this and see if I can get them to actually attach in. See, this is what I'm hoping for, is when people click on it right from Webex, they don't need to explore the file. So I'm going to have to check my code again and see if I'm doing this properly. But that's really more of what I'm after, as opposed to just attaching the file and making people go explore the file. So that's CSV. And plain text. Let me quickly look and just confirm. It's just text XLS, and then everything else is the same. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research offline here. Content type m.content type in my header. And I have that. Content type m content type. Not quite exactly what I'm after here. Let me try JSON, YAML, text is plain text. Try plain text. CSV is a CSV. Markdown, HTML, Markdown, audio. Let me try MP3 instead of MPEG. And then SVG is, I don't think that's a supported image type, but PNG is working. So PNG is the only one so far that we have working properly. Let me try these again. And let me just do all file types. Policy set, all. And then I should get a bunch of 200s back with these different. I don't have if it equals all. Okay, that's not going to work yet. Policy set, JSON. Strange when I drag in a JSON file, I get the JSON like this, but when I attach it, it's not showing up as a JSON file. So I'm going to have to troubleshoot that a little bit at some point. Let me try the other file types now that I've made the adjustments and just see. Policy set, YAML. Same thing, it's not showing up as a YAML file. Let me drag in the YAML file and just see. Okay, so YAML doesn't get recognized, so that one's not going to work. But JSON should work. Let's try the MP3 again. Now that I've changed it from an MPEG to an MP3. Yeah, same thing. It's not automatically playing. Although I think when I dragged it in, it was the same problem with the MP3 file. It doesn't show up as an audio file. Okay, so MP3 doesn't work. But it's strange that CSV file and the JSON file isn't showing as a file you can click on. I'm going to have to look up this, see what I've gone wrong, although I don't quite see my mistake with the m.content type. I have to revisit that. That's on my list of things to research offline, is how to get this. That's why I'm using multi-part encoder, is to encode the file properly so that Webex detects the file type and displays it in the Webex chat room. So SVG, PNG. Now I guess the other ones are going to be flowchart, mermaid, flowchart, and that one I call flowchart.markdown, flowchart.markdown, and this is a text. I want to say markdown here, but I don't know if that's a, let me just do plain text. Policy set, flowchart. Where is my flowchart file? Oh, I see. I was just in the wrong path. So let's see, does this... You see? Now that doesn't render in Webex unless Webex adds... So markdown files, is it just MD maybe instead of text? I don't think so. I tried markdown as well. Policy set, flowchart. Hey Danny, how are you? Thanks for joining. Hey, thanks for joining. I'm just sort of so let me explain kind of what I'm up against here, and this sort of, so when I drag in a markdown file, it actually lets me click on it and I can view it right in Webex, similar to PNG files. Now the only one I have working so far correctly, let's say, is this PNG file. So you can click on the PNG right from Webex and it'll open it. You don't have to do this reveal and explore and then open it, right? It's a couple less steps and it puts the image right into the chat room. Now when I originally did this with XLS files, that's what I was expecting. So what I need to do is do some homework on these different file types here, the encoding. Whoops. So in my post, I'm saying the content type is m.content type. And let me just quickly see if I can find a table. Content types. m.content type. And the content type comes from m.content type. Trying to find an example. Fields, file, snap, image, buff. I just want a table that lists the different content types. So when I say m.content type, it picks up the correct encoded file type, and when I get it posted into Webex, it naturally displays the right encoded file type, as opposed to just saying, here's a file type, view it in Explorer, and then open it. And if I quickly look on my phone, what I'm curious is that PNG file, ISECycle. Yeah, so this is sort of what I'm after. You know, you're not going to be able to see this on my phone, but the PNG file renders as a PNG file in my phone. And I don't have to open it locally on my phone and save it. And if I go back, it's similar to when I drag and drop in. Oh, okay. Okay, well that's interesting. On my phone, the MP3 files actually have a play button. So MP3 is actually working correctly on the phone. So when I attach the MP3 file, let me just confirm that, and I'll come back to this file type. Let me just do that real quick. Policy set MP3. And again, you're maybe not going to be able to see the phone exactly clearly, but yeah, so
the Identity Services Engine Open API
it actually sends it as an MP3 file that I can listen to on my phone. The policy set
name is default with a service name default network.
So that is using the encoding type of audio MP3. So I just need to find the reference document for how to properly send in JSON and YAML and all my different file types. I don't want to get hung up too much on it, but it would be really nice if on the desktop, so on the desktop the MP3, unless maybe I need to tell my Webex, see, it's weird that on my desktop version it's just to open the file as a link, whereas in my phone, it's actually an MP3 file. So my code is sound. I'm doing it correctly, but what I need to do is find a reference document for the different content types. And I don't want to get too hung up on that, but it is pretty cool that the MP3 is on the phone. I agree. But what I'd really like, and so the two, I have a couple working. PNG works. The PNG file is definitely working. And like this, here's the PNG file. But when I manually drag and drop other file types, you can see that they actually, like the XLS works. Whereas and the JSON works directly as an attachment. So something for me to make note of is to do some research on those file types. Let's finish off, I don't want to get too scatterbrained here, so let's finish off the rest of our file types, and then I'll do some research as to what the different content types are. So I have flowchart, and then I have class, I think is next. Now Webex does not support Mermaid necessarily, so I don't expect these to render, but I do expect to get the raw markdown inside of my Webex room as the attachment. Let me just quickly go back to my Google here. Content type markdown. Yeah, PNG and markdown. Oh, maybe it's MIME type? No, it's content type for sure. I have to do a little more homework here. Request toolbar documentation. Content type. Form data encoder. I believe that's what I'm using. See, they have text. Oh, plain. Maybe it's just plain instead of plain text. Haha. So let's try that here. Text plain for the class diagram. Policy set class. And how did that look? You see, it's not. I don't want to have to open this. I want it just to show me the markdown. Now, how did it look on my phone? Again, is this like the MP3 where the phone is better than my desktop? No, it's just an attachment. Is it? Yeah, I have it in quotes. I'm sort of so application JSON. Let's try that application JSON for the JSON file. Application JSON. Let's see if that makes a difference here. Policy set JSON. Maybe text HTML could be. Aha! Okay, so it's application JSON. Very good. That's a nice breakthrough. So if I go to my Webex now, I should have a JSON file in my room. Aha! I don't know if you can see it, maybe not, but there is the JSON payload. I don't have to save it locally, it actually renders. So it's application JSON. Now let's see what other applications. That's a big improvement. Now I don't need to open the file location or anything, it's right inside of the room, the JSON payload. So let's see what other applications, see if they support application YAML. Policy set YAML. No, it didn't work on the phone. Didn't work there. So YAML is not an application. And text YAML doesn't work either. Actually, let me see. Let me do it the manual way with the YAML file. Does it render YAML natively or not? Okay, no. Okay, so that's a Webex limitation. The YAML file type is just going to be an attached file. It doesn't actually show YAML. Okay, so that's fine. YAML, we'll just treat it as plain text. Let's try it with plain for YAML and see if it will give me the plain text output from the YAML. No. What about my text file? Let me make this plain. It's not plain text. That was wrong. Policy set text. Yeah, I think I'm up to like 14 different file types. Yeah, you see it doesn't... Okay, so that's expected. So text, so YAML and text, I don't have the option for those. Now CSV, I'm expecting it to actually work, the CSV file. So if I'm in here and I attach my CSV file, or is it just XLS? Let's see here. I think it does render CSV. Okay, no it doesn't. So what I would need to do is to change this from a CSV file to an XLS file. But that sort of breaks my... I wonder if I could get cute here in my code when I'm attaching if it equals CSV to... change it on the fly to XLSX, but open the CSV file, but write the XLS file, and change this to XLSX. Let's try that. Policy set CSV. See if I can rewrite it on the fly. Okay, so that did give me the XLS file, but it's still not working. See, this is what I want it to do, is to render... Does it work on my phone? No. XLSX. See, this is what I'd like it to do, is to display it where I can click on it. But it's weird that when I drag in the file versus posting the file, Is it application XLS? I don't think it is. I think it's just text. I'm just looking at some older code. This is where I got my inspiration from, is my older code. So, and I know that this does work. Multi-part encoder, the room ID, text XLSX. So it is just text. And then my content type is m.content type. And there's my application JSON, so I should have known that. I'm still not sure why this text XLS is not working for my Excel file. What if I open the CSV file? Maybe I'm breaking it by changing the file type. Policy set CSV. Could be breaking it by rewriting it on the fly like that. Maybe that doesn't like that. No, see, it's still not coming in properly. Okay, I'll have to do some homework on that. I'm pretty sure I was able to post XLS files into, unless it just actually needs to be an XLS file. Let me try something real quick here. Where's my CSV file? Just to rule it out. I'm still going to keep it as a CSV file, but let's open it as a XLS file and write that in as an XLS file. Let's just see if that makes a difference. Policy set CSV. No. What about on the phone? No. Well, I'm at a bit of a loss here. I'm not quite sure. Let me undo that. Not quite sure why text XLSX is not working, or CSV is not working as a MIME type. Policy set CSV. No, still broken. Okay, well, let's, so what have we ruled out here? YAML and text don't work. CSV should work, but it's not working. Content type. Am I opening it wrong? RB, no, that's a CSV file, open. Very bizarre, very bizarre. Now, I don't know if application markdown is supported. but let's try that. Policy set markdown. No. So doesn't look like markdown is going to work. So only application JSON looks like a valid. It's too bad there isn't just a list of the content types. Naturally, you should set the content type to your upload appropriately because the tool belt will not attempt to guess it for you. Okay, well, where can I get a list of content types? Content type application JSON. Yeah, there's got to be more. Text/CSV. Yeah. That could be. Could be a Webex limitation, possibly, although I'm pretty sure I had the CSV file working. Text plain, because it is plain text. But it should be sorted as a CSV file. Anyway, I'm kind of hung up on this, so application markdown doesn't work. So text plain. Now, I don't know about, so HTML, it's not rendering the page either, I don't think. Text plain. Audio MP3 works on my phone. Audio MP3 works on my phone. Image SVG is not working. But image PNG is working. So maybe make this text plain. Text plain. Text plain. Okay, let's get back on track and finish off our files. That's going to bother me. I'm going to have to do some homework on that. So then I guess the next one is relationship and then state. Yeah, relationship. Relationship. Policy set. Relationship. Okay, good. And then the last, well, one of the last files is state and then graph. Okay. state. And there's our state file. Okay, good. And then I need to quickly check for the graph. Do I call it graph? Graph CSV file. And the graph file calls it graph.html. Okay. And what I'm going to do is drag in the file. Well, I guess it might not render. Graph graph.html graph.html. And actually, I'm just curious, does my HTML file render or not? No, it does not. Okay, so there's limitations to the Webex file types for sure. Let's go ahead and finish off graph. Policy set graph. And there's my graph file. And there's my graph file. From the root here, policy sets. Okay. So those are the different attachments. Not exactly 100%. The CSV file in particular bothers me because I know I had XLS files working, but I did get JSON working as an application JSON, and we do have MP3 files working. So now what I need to do now is cycle back and add the Webex chatbots for my existing APIs. So what I need to do is go into my adaptive card and make an adaptive card for the MNT and for the nodes. So let's do the MNT first. So I'm going to copy this whole thing and paste that in, make this an else, and add my end if to the end. So then if it equals version, right, the room ID, and this is the MNT API for version, and we're going to ISECycle version API. And then let's grab our columns from the HTML page. So that's node, and version is down here. So this is going to be a lot smaller. So this is going to be product name, type of node, version, get rid of this comma, get rid of the other column headers. Right? And then replace those, get rid of that comma, and get rid of those, as I still puzzle in my head about why the MIME types aren't working. And change the message here to say the Identity Services Engine MNT version API ISECycle resources, and then none of this other stuff changes. Alright, so let's try that. Now let's just do it without any files attached to it. version, no files, and hopefully we'll get a 200 back. No. Oh, I have too many decimals in here. That's a mistake right there. Let's try that again. Version with no file types. Has no attribute product. Data to template dot product. Is that not? Should just be copy and paste from. Oh, hang on. I know why. It's because I didn't do the MNT, so I need to add a bit of logic here for the chatbot. If MNT is in the file path, so if MNT is in the file path, else tab all that over. Okay, let's see if that does the fix. Version, no file type. Result reference before. Oh, I have result in here somewhere. Right here, data to template equals parsed JSON. Version, no file type. Still doesn't have a product. Product is right there though. Data to template, parse JSON, and the parse JSON looks like this, and there's product. Data to template dot product. If API equals version, else and if. But I'm sending in the full JSON to template. That data to template should have product in it. Okay, I've broken something in my code here because now even the JSON is not. Oh, I see. It's because. Okay, did I write the file though? No, it's the same error. So there's product there. ICE adaptive card, line 84, text is data to template, product name, and then there's product there. So like, is it working for, it should still be working for the CSV file. And I'm using, right, there's product. What have I made a mistake? I've made a simple mistake here somewhere. CSV. version, API equals version, data to template. Do I have a for loop in here somewhere, or am I missing something? Ha! Is it, let me just get rid of that for a second. No, it doesn't like the dot product. But data to template is definitely has product in there. And the CSV file is working. So why doesn't this one want to template? Template. Let me just take a look at my CSV code. Oh, haha, I know why. I know why. It's because it's not a dictionary yet. I keep making that mistake. I know. It's because, yeah, I see. So I should be doing, yeah, because I'm doing a JSON loads here. That's my mistake again. That should be JSON loads, parse JSON. Okay. All right. Now this will work. Version, no file type, 200 status code. That's a much better result. And we have now, right, product name, Cisco Identity Services Engine, type of node 1, version, and then my links. Okay, good. Geez, sorry about the hiccup there. Now let's try a file type. So that should then move on to the file type and just attach the file type. Right, so let's do version JSON. Two 200s, and it's loading the JSON file. Sometimes this does take a minute here to render. Let me just check my phone. So I know the file types are good. Yeah, and there's the JSON file type on the phone. Okay, so then my third adaptive card is going to be for nodes. Now nodes is a loop. So we have to take a look at, say, the CSV file. But what I want is a card per node. So I'm not actually going to copy that. I'm going to use the MP3 sort of, yeah, see how I'm using data to template for the node. So my loop has to be in the Python, not inside of the Jinja 2. Which means I'm going to just take my adaptive card, and let's take the version one we just did. And actually, let's rearrange this, because version comes after. I kind of want them alphabetically so that people can find them easily if they need to adjust the template. So I'm going to take version out, LMNOPQRSTV, right, and put it here as an else. And then nodes is going to go at the top. So like this, and then this one's going to say if it equals node, And this is from the ERS API for Node. And let's get our values from the HTML page for Node. So it's going to just be, oh, and hang on, this is ERS Node API. So it's Node ID, name, URL, and this is going to be data to template .id, .name, and then the URL can actually be code, URL link.href ERS Node API. Now what I need to do is adjust our logic in the ISECycle to say, so if it's MNT else, actually it's already handled. I think I've already handled that. So what I should get is an adaptive card for each node. Yes. And let's try that theory out here. So we're going to say node with no file type. Oh, I didn't finish an endif. Haha. I need an endif for that third chunk of logic. Endif. Node, no file type. And now do I have, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4 adaptive cards with each node and a URL for each of the nodes. Now, I should get 4 files if I add a file type. So I'm going to have to adjust that logic a little bit in my Python here to say there's a couple ways I could do this. I don't want to repeat all this code, so I should make these each little functions, I suppose. But for now, what I'm going to do, I mean, I could make them little functions and then call the functions after. But for now, what I'm going to do is copy this and place it in line here. If MNT tab that under there, and then for my else, bring all of this under the for loop, so that for each file we get 4 file types. So let's try that. Node to a JSON file. Yeah, good, and there's all my 400s, or 200s, excuse me. So then in my room, right, I get the node and then the attached file per node. Okay, so I have some homework to do, and just to give you a sense on what my next steps are. This is a pretty well working minimum viable product, aside from little gotchas like the CSV file. But what my next steps are is going to be to open up my business ready file and look at all these ICE templates that I have. So let me just see if I can get a total number of files. So I already have 77 templates for all of the different APIs. Now I don't think I'm gonna stream me going through each of these, but what my plan is to go into my business ready code. So if I find my main code, and if I go to my ICE section, so here you can see I have, these are the ERS, and these are all of the ERS APIs that I've already done. And then the open APIs, and you can see all these different open APIs that I've done. And then the MNTs. So if I go to active sessions, right, there's my URL. And then I have my template that matches it. Right, so if I do active count and bring it into my new code, what I'm going to do is under my path, I'm going to say for the path, so if it equals active sessions, then the path is going to be the active count path. And then I need to call that template. So capture state, go ahead and parse the XML and load the parse JSON. So then I need to say right, all I need to do now is go into my template. So, well, let me just do this in order, how I would do this. Let's validate that we get the JSON back from that, that new API we just added. So active sessions with no file type. Not a supported API. Please check the README. Well, it did print the active sessions, but is it the space? Could be the space. Let me put that in quotes. Active sessions. No file type. No, it doesn't like that either. How did I call it in my old code? I guess I didn't handle it that way in my old code. Get the template active sessions. I mean, I can just change that to be active sessions with a hyphen like I've done policy set here. Let's just try that. Active sessions, no file type. Active sessions is not, so it's working, but it's throwing an error here. Active sessions is not a supported API. If API path equals, is it because I haven't added it somewhere else? set the path if self.api equals active sessions, else not a supported API. Oh, I know why. Geez, John. Else if. Haha. Let me try that again with the space. Now that active sessions, no file type. There we go. So now the post isn't working from a bad request. That's to Webex. So in theory, it should have just posted to the Webex. So I have to look at my Webex post here. And MNT is in the file path. Chatbot, if MNT is in the API path. Version. So version is posting. Oh, I see. It's because I haven't templated the adaptive card yet. That's all that is. So, right. So once I have it working, my next step is to template the session count through all of my various templates. So again, I'm going to wrap things up. And we did some more discovery here today. This is kind of a minimum viable product, but I have 71 APIs that are more or less done. CSV, HTML, all that stuff is already templated. So it's just a matter of moving the code from one place to the other. And I don't think that's worth streaming for everyone. But once I have all this done and worked over the next, I don't know, probably take me a month. I'm also busy starting my new book. So I just wanted to get a minimum viable product and explore the REST APIs and the Webex. But really what my next steps are going to be is going to be go to my business ready, go into my ICE active sessions. So ICE active sessions, and copy and paste the code over. So I'm going to go into my CSV file and say, if API equals active sessions, then we want active sessions, and it's not much of a CSV file because there's just the one column. Add my else, add my end if, and it's actually going to be data to template. Dot sessions, right? So now that that's done, I will likely, so what I'll likely do is just copy in the CSV file and then build the rest of the templates myself. So let's do the adaptive card so that way I don't get the error message anymore. So let's do the adaptive card. And this one is if it equals active sessions. This is the MNT API for active sessions. MNT active sessions API, and there's just the one field. Active sessions without the comma. Get rid of these other fields. And then this is data to template dot session dot count without the comma. And this is the MNT active sessions API. So now let's try this as a CSV file. Active sessions to a CSV. Ah, I put too many dots in. There's just a typo there. Here. Active sessions to a CSV. And now in Webex, I have my active session 0 and my active sessions CSV file, which is just active sessions 0. So, right, I will be working through the rest of the APIs over time, and hopefully, eventually, I don't know, I don't want to commit to a date or a time, right, but my next steps is going to be to take this and go into the markdown file and add, you know, ISECycle active sessions, put a pipe around that, give it a delimiter, put a pipe and a pipe, add my end if, and do this as markdown, active sessions markdown, and now I have a markdown table. Do the HTML, do the mermaids, do all the MP3s, do all the rest of those files. So that'll be it for today, just a quick little stream to pick up where I left off and finish off the Webex work and explore some of the Webex gotchas. And my next couple of weeks will be to take those 71 APIs that I've done, find any other APIs I haven't done, and finish this as a product. So thanks for joining. That'll be it for the stream today, and we'll see you soon.